Good evening. Welcome to round two. We're going to have the clerk to call the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. We're going to start by having the Resources Subcommittee report, and that will be given by Tyler.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm going to start with the resources report, but I'm going to start with Senate Bill 212, and for the members, this is in your green packet. Senate Bill 212 relates to Senator Rouse's Virginia Small Business Economic Development Act, which relates to the skill games. The subcommittee recommended adopting a committee substitute and then reporting the bill 4 yes, 0 no. The committee substitute includes a 22% tax rate. 75% of the taxes go to the pre-K through 12 Opportunity Fund. There's a 15,000 statewide machine cap limit. It operates at ABC for a maximum of 18 months before transferring to lottery for regulations.
Thank you, Tyler. Committee, you've heard the presentation by staff. Senator McPike, you have a question?
Yes, Madam Chair. On the substitute, just a couple questions because I don't think it's online or available, and I understand it's in the process. But so a couple questions, if you don't mind.
Mike, or staff attorney.
Does the substitute have any protections for the small business owners in terms of length of contract allowed under the agreements? No.
Senator McPike, I'd have to double check on that.
I think Tyler can respond.
Madam Chair, the committee substitute does not.
Okay.
Committee substitute does not. Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Does the substitute have any separations of licensors in terms of like a 3-tier system?
I believe that's also a no, but staff attorney?
Madam Chair, yes, it does.
Great. Thank you. And does the final question, Madam Chair?
Senator McPike.
Thank you. Does I guess two components. Does it have any means to protect someone that's on the voluntary self-exclusion problem gaming list to not participate in the machines?
I think Stephen is going to respond to that. Staff attorney?
Madam Chair, I don't believe so.
Thank you. We need to adopt the substitute.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be adopted. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Senator Deeds.
Madam Chair, I move we report the bill as the substitute.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be reported. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Madam Chair.
Senator McPike.
This is just speaking to the motion briefly. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You have the mic.
Thank you. So this is something I really wanted to see some additional protections in. I'm supportive of the overall effort and measure. I'm still a little concerned that we don't have some of the connections that we need for both the Commonwealth, small business, and those who are on problem gaming. And so at this point, I'm still a no, but hoping that when it gets through the process, it starts to improve to make sure that the Commonwealth is protected with back-end data. It's protected for problem gamers that are out there. It also, if we were able to do it, would help the small businesses to not be liable if there's an automatic player card or some other device that can protect the small business owners. That way, if someone slides in, it's really about the player ID card activating the machine. So there's a couple different provisions I'd love to see that would help protect small business and the problem gamers that are out there that cause a significant issue. And our problem gaming line reports that 18% of all those folks that have reported and self-report are citing skill games as the issue, and that's from the state's data. And so it's hoping we can figure out a way to fix this. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator McPike, your concerns are so noted. We have a motion on the floor to report the substitute. All in favor, please so designate electronically.
Ayes 12, noes 3.
Ayes 12, noes 3. The bill is reported with the substitute. Turn it back to Tyler for committee report.
Yes. Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 448, Senator Rouse, relates to the retail sale of marijuana. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee substitute and reporting the bill 3 yes, 1 no.
Madam Chair,
Motion on the substitute.
I move with the substitute be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be adopted.
Tyler to explain this.
I would like for Tyler to explain the substitute, please.
Yes. Madam Chair, the committee substitute applies a 12.5% state excise tax. It allows localities a 3.5% optional local tax. It applies retail sales and use for the K-12 portion of retail sales and use, so that's the 1 1/8 cent. And then that's effectively a statewide tax of 17%. And then it amends marijuana-related penalties that were added in courts.
Thank you for that explanation, Tyler. Senator Favola, you have a question? Senator Favola.
My understanding is localities would have to hold a referendum, and they would all be expected to hold a referendum. They could opt out of this framework.
Could we get staff to explain the substitute so for everybody's understanding? And then Senator McDougal, if you will suspend until we get from Tyler. Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Senator Favola, localities can opt out of the sale of retail establishments. They can hold a local referendum and do that.
Follow-up question, Madam Chair.
Senator Favola.
Is there a requirement that the localities actually hold the referendum, or the referendum is a local option, and then, of course, whatever the voters vote on in that jurisdiction?
Madam Chair, Senator Favola, let me confirm that it's by ordinance, but the locality has to initiate the referendum to opt out. I believe it's by ordinance, but I can double check that quickly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's an important piece of information.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Favola. Senator McDougal.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, just looking at the bill, one of the things that still concerns me is the substitute changes the penalty for what we do for alcohol. So if you sell alcohol and when you're not licensed or to a minor, the penalties are greater, double potential the penalties of what now would be in place for marijuana. And that does concern me that the illegal sale of marijuana is less of a penalty than the illegal sale of alcohol.
So noted, Senator McDougal. Other questions? Comments? Motion.
I move we adopt the substitute.
It's been moved and second that the substitute be adopted. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. There motion?
Move the report.
It's been moved and second that the bill as with the substitute be adopted. That is Senate Bill 448. All in favor, designate electronically.
Ayes 9, noes 5, 1 abstention.
Ayes 9, noes 5, 1 abstention. The bill is reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair.
Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize. I would like to call the vote back up on 212. I voted
You
the
want a
wrong way.
reconsideration?
Just reconsideration of the vote by which we passed Senate Bill 212.
There's a motion to reconsider the vote by which we passed Senate Bill 448. All
No,
in
excuse me, 212.
2212. I'm sorry, 2212. Of course, not that other one. 2212. All in favor of that motion, you're going to have to designate electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reconsidered. So the motion again.
Move the report.
It's been moved and reported that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor of that motion, please so designate electronically.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4. The bill is reported with the substitute, and that's Senate Bill 212.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome, Senator Marsden. Tyler.
Yes. Yes, Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 678, Senator Rouse, relates to intercollegiate athletics and name, image, and likeness. The subcommittee recommends carrying over the bill and referring the issue to the Intercollegiate Athletics Review Commission.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be continued. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically.
Ayes 14, noes 1.
Ayes 14, noes 1. The bill will be carried over. Continued. Thank you. Tyler?
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 488, Senator Aird. The recommendation of the subcommittee was to adopt a committee substitute and recommend reporting for yes or no. And I'm sorry.
We adopt the substitute.
There's a motion and a second that the substitute be adopted. All in favor, please say aye.
I move the report.
There's a motion that the bill will be reported with the substitute. All in favor or not, please so designate electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, noes 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 608, Senator Aird, relates to the establishment of an Office of the Community Schools at the Department of Education. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee substitute and reporting for yes or no.
I move the substitute.
There's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
I move the report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. All in favor of reporting Senate Bill 608 with the substitute, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 373, Senator Boysko, related to paid family and medical leave. The bill was passed by for the day. The next bill, Senate Bill 445.
I'm thinking that we probably need to have a roll call on Senator, we need a voice vote on pass by for Senate Bill 373. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Tyler.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 445, Senator Durant, relates to credit for service for teachers who are veterans or active duty members of the armed forces. The subcommittee recommends carrying over the bill 3 yes, 1 no.
I so move.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be carried over. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be carried over.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 582, Senator Eben, relates to registration of tobacco product retailers and the sale of retail tobacco. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee substitute and reporting for yes or no.
A motion, there's a motion and a second on the substitute. All in favor, please say aye. Now that you've heard the substitute, I need a motion.
I move we report. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor, vote electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill is Senate Bill 231, Senator Hashmi, related to a comprehensive health care coverage program for children. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee amendment and then reporting the bill 3 yes, 1 no.
Need a motion on the committee amendment?
Move the committee amendment.
It's been moved and seconded that the committee amendment be adopted. All in favor, please say aye. Now with the amendment, I need a motion.
Move the report.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the amendment. All in favor, designate electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be reported with the amendment.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 54, Senator Locke, relates to early childhood care and education and the funding formula for that. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee substitute and adopting for
Substitute?
yes or no.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Now the motion on the
Move the
substitute.
report.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be reported. All in favor, say aye. No, vote electronically, please.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 217, Senator Locke, relating to the Business Ready Site Program. The subcommittee recommends passing by for the day.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be passed by for the day. Yep, so all in favor of that motion, just say aye. Aye.
Madam Chair, the next bill is Senate Bill 1, your bill relating to the minimum wage. The subcommittee recommends reporting 3 yes, 1 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that Senate Bill 1 be reported. All in favor of that motion, please vote yes or no on the electronic voting.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 104, is also your bill related to teacher compensation. The subcommittee recommends adopting a substitute which directs the governor to include in the introduced budget bills salary increases based on the existing code language to maintain competitive salaries.
I'd like to entertain a motion on the substitute. Second. It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion on the substitute.
Move report.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be reported. All in favor? Electronic vote is required.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute. We're on a roll. Tyler.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 72, Senator McPike, relating to the Virginia Parent Data Portal. The subcommittee's recommendation was to continue the bill and explore it in the budget.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be carried over. And I think we need an electronic vote. Yes. Yes. Open the roll, please.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be carried over.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 282, Senator Rome, relating to the use of surplus funds for the Virginia Highway Safety Improvement Program. The subcommittee's recommendation was to pass by indefinitely, 4 yes, 0 no.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be passed by indefinitely.
Madam Chair, yes, Senate Bill 581, Senator Stewart's bill went by for the day.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that Senate Bill 581 goes by for the day, and I think we do need an electronic vote. Okay, we'll take a voice vote on that one. All in favor say aye. Aye. Bill is passed by for the day.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 220, Senator Favola, also went by for the day.
So moved.
And second? It's fine. You've heard the motion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. By for the day.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 435, Senator Suderline, also went by for the day.
So moved.
Been moved that that bill also goes by for the day. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Senate Bill 435 will go by for the day.
Madam Chair, the next bill, Senate Bill 627, which is your chair, your bill, Madam Chair, also went by for the day.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill go by for the day. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Madam Chair, there were several education SOQ funding bills that the subcommittee heard, and I'm going to read out the bill numbers and make the recommendation that they be incorporated as a block. The first bill is Senate Bill 609, Senate Bill 227, Senate Bill 228, Senate Bill 187, Senate Bill 127, Senate Bill 128. The recommendation of the subcommittee was to incorporate all of these bills into SB 105, Madam Chair, which is your bill, and I will explain that once we do the incorporation.
You've heard the motion?
Do we need separate votes on each one
Do
of
we-
those bills?
Can we do it as a block? Okay. You've heard the report, and you have a motion and a second. All in favor of reporting the incorporated bills into Senate Bill 101, 105, please vote electronically. Your preference.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bills will be incorporated into Senate Bill 105.
Um,
I,
Yes.
I think we do want to hear a little bit about what that means.
Yes. Madam Chair, all of those bills that you just incorporated were related to SOQ funding. A majority of them were related to the SOQ recommendations that JLARC published last summer. And incorporating a lot of those actions into your bill, Senator Lucas, you now have an education omnibus bill to look at all of those things. And Madam Chair, the subcommittee recommends a committee substitute to your bill, which would ensure that there's provided targeted support for teachers who are getting a national board certification, and those are targeted to teachers in Title I schools. There's the establishment of the at-risk add-on program and code, which was a JLARC recommendation, and then further study by the Joint Subcommittee on K-12 funding on how the funding for the at-risk program will be modified going forward in the following biennium. It also directs DOE to gather the expenditure data on English language learner students to determine a future funding formula change related to supporting those students. And then it directs a study of special education staffing needs in anticipation of the K-12 funding subcommittee looking at that.
I move the report.
Motion on the substitute.
I move to adopt the substitute.
There's a motion and a second on the substitute. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Now I need a motion on the substitute.
Move the report.
It's been moved and second that the substitute be reported. All in favor of that motion, please let your wishes be known electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
Okay. Madam Chair, I believe this is the final bill. Senate Bill 272, Senator Hashmi, relates to English language learners. The subcommittee recommends adopting a committee substitute.
I'll move the substitute.
There's a motion and a second on the substitute. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Tyler.
Yes, Madam Chair, the substitute also, similar to your bill, asks DOE to implement data collection on English language learner expenditures in anticipation of the need of that data for the K-12 funding formula study, and also assessment of the proficiency levels of English language students in anticipation of that being needed for the subcommittee's review.
Thank you. Now I need a motion on the substitute.
I move the substitute.
You've heard the motion to report the substitute. All in favor, please vote electronically. Yea or nay?
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute. That's Senate Bill 272.
Madam
We have
Chair.
one more in that block.
Madam Chair,
Senator Hashmi.
do we have one more in the block? I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'd like to make a motion after this one.
Okay.
Madam Chair, the last bill is Senate Bill 563, Senator Hackworth, relating to dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment in public education. As the bill came from Education and Health, it's now a Section 1 study, and the subcommittee recommends reporting.
So moved.
Madam Chair, I believe we had a substitute that we'd ask the attorney to report on.
Yes. David, please.
Madam Chair, it did come to us as a study. All we did here was remove references to children receiving homeschool
I'll
instruction.
move the substitute. Second.
There's a motion and a second to report the substitute. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Now move to report the bill.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor, I need you to please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute. That's Senate Bill 563.
Senator Hashmi wants to.
Senator Hashmi, you have,
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having voted on the prevailing side by which we passed SB 231, I move that we reconsider the vote.
okay, with that, What was that bill, Senator Heisman? 231?
231.
Okay. I need a motion on reconsideration.
I'll second the motion.
You moved it? Okay. There's a motion and a second that the bill be reconsidered, and that is Senate Bill 231. I need to do this, vote. I need an electronic vote.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill is back before us. Senator Heisman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we report 231 as, with the substitute.
As amended.
As amended.
Okay.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported as amended. That's a motion on the reconsideration with an amendment. Yes, there's a motion and a second. I need an electronic vote. Everyone who is in favor of that bill, please vote electronically, or if you're not, still vote electronically.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4. The bill will be reported with the substitute. That's Senate Bill 231.
Now we're going to go.
Now we're going to go to our next sheet, and we have sign up, and we have Senator Stanley. Did Senator Stanley leave us? Oh, he's right there. Senator Stanley, you're first on the sign-up sheet.
That's never happened in 14 years.
Senator Stanley, you have Senate Bill 493.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. This is a bill that came out of the Courts of Justice Committee. As you may know, in Virginia, when it comes to medical malpractice, we have what's called a cap on damages, a limitation on damages. It is an incremental scale that increases by $50,000 from now into the year 2030. Right now, it's at $2.6 million. It does not discern how old the child is, or an adult, or the type of injury. It just limits the damages entirely to that $2.6 million. There are cases, of course, that are above the cap, jury awards that are above the cap, then those are reduced to the cap at $2.6 million. What this bill does, simply put, is that what we have here is when there is a child 10 years or under, and they're involved in where an act of medical malpractice has been committed against them. What we're usually talking about, these are a very small portion of those people that file medical malpractice claims. But usually they're the ones that are more significantly hurt, in the sense that not only is the injury long-lasting, we're talking about a young man or woman 10 or under who's growing, mentally growing, cognitively growing, bones are growing, all of those things that are affected by then the malpractice, which then also necessitates those expenses for their care exceed what this cap is, because they're going to need that medical care for the rest of their lives usually, especially when you're talking about head injuries or things that affect the brain function and growth, which make up about 35% of all the cases involving children 10 and under in the United States. And so what happens then is, after the lawyer takes their fee, I do not do medical malpractice cases, but you're talking about $800,000 to $900,000 in legal fees, plus the expenses of trial, which are all into that cap. So that can be over $1 million, $1.5 million of money that is taken out of the cap directly off the top, leaving the parents with less than $1 million sometimes to care for the child, all the way from that age to adulthood and more. And when that money runs out, because of course they're not insurable, then who picks it up? Well, it's Medicaid. It's us. And so what they become is basically a medical ward of the state in terms of the financial obligations that we have to do to take care of them. You may have seen an article in the Richmond Times just a day or two about Artemis Harrison. He was a 2-year-old toddler. He went into a hospital on an appendicitis, was supposed to get 150 cc's of Tylenol, and got 1,500. He lingered, his liver and kidneys shut down, and he lingered, and his parents had to let him go. And the cost of maintaining his life was so great. And his father testified at the Courts of Justice committee meeting on Monday, and he said simply this: what is the worth of a child's life? Especially in these situations when this child, who had all this promise and hope and could have probably cured cancer or done something great with his life, instead was dead at age 2. How do you replace that? How do you put a monetary value on that replacement? But what if he had survived, Madam Chair and members of this committee? Then who would have paid for his care? And what kind of life and quality of life would he have? These are not moments, Madam Chair and members of the committee, where we're making families rich. We're just trying to cover the medical expenses. And so if you look at some of these things, and I handed out to some, and we did it in the courts, there are a couple myths that, of course, those on the other side, the insurance company especially, says this will raise rates. This is bad policy because the cap keeps the rates low for doctors. But here's a fact. In Virginia, insurers are making money to the tune of, they collected $3.14 billion in medical malpractice insurance premiums between the years 2008 and 2022. They paid $1.56 billion in medical malpractice claims and direct defense and cost containment expenses. That's attorneys' fees, their experts, everything, which left them with a net profit of $1.58 billion with the B. I know you all deal with billions of dollars, so you know what that means, in profit after the payment of claims and their expenses. If we look at some of their arguments, they say, well, without caps, those premiums will skyrocket. Studies have been done. Robert Hunter, former federal insurance administrator under President Carter, found that in some, data does not support any conclusion that limiting patients' legal rights, including capping damages, results in lower premiums for doctors in any state whatsoever. And what we're doing here is, don't forget, this is about a 10 and under. The caps, though, as they're applied to everybody, creates an unlevel playing field because the insurance company, it's the insurance company, not the doctors. Doctors are great, hospitals are great, but they know that they're capped at 2.6, so they never make offers of settlement because they can take that money, put it aside, invest it, do whatever. And so what they do is they end up dragging the plaintiff through and the plaintiff's family through the expenses and the time. Well, they know that nothing can happen that will ever be worse than $2.6 million. If you look at your fiscal impact, it says it's indeterminate. And I would say to this, one, we do enjoy sovereign immunity, so these kind of costs and expenses and risk of judgments are not that great, or not great at all. We have risk management and those kind of things that handle in certain situations. But even in your fiscal impact statement, the quick research they did, there were 10 cases of children under 10 in the last 10 years, that's 1 a year average, that had medical malpractice claims. And of those that received money from those claims, only one was reduced by the cap. So we're talking about a very small portion of what is in the community that needs this kind of help. What we're seeking here is this, and actually, I will give you these stats on medical malpractice entirely. Since 2023, Madam Chair, there have only been 42 cases that were greater than the cap. 42 since 2005 to this day. So even if we're talking about the cap in general terms and not just focused on 10 and under, that's not a lot. And when you're talking about a corporation, an industry that profits $1.58 billion, there is room for them to have compassion so that they can care for children like Artemis, who never got a chance at life. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I seek today for us in Virginia to acknowledge one thing: we can do better, and especially when it comes to these children. We owe them that. We owe their families that. And this cap is arcane when it comes to those kind of injuries. And that is only what I'm seeking to do. And this bill lifts the cap for 10 and under. And that's the bill.
Turning our attention to the committee, would you have a question of Senator Marsden? Senator Favola?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Stanley, under your scheme, I understand the problem, but what happens to an 11-year-old?
Madam Chair, I'd answer the gentleman by saying if an 11-year-old suffers a medical malpractice, then they would necessarily and recover damages. Their damage recovery would be limited by the cap. Madam Chair, I would answer the gentleman because I looked at all of the information of where the most colossal catastrophic injuries occurred in medical malpractice when we're talking about children younger than, say, 18. And it really was in the toddler to 10-year-old range.
Madam Chair?
And so that's why I tried to fashion it this way.
Senator Marsden and Senator Favola will follow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It seems to me that what this suggests is the need for, based on the age of persons affected by these tragic occurrences, that there needs to be a scale that, that works its way, downward in terms of higher numbers because the person will be alive longer and need care longer and what have you. But it just seems that picking an arbitrary age, even though it is somewhat data-based, would still, leave some people in really, really difficult circumstances if they were 11 or 12. And so, anyway, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator
Marshall.
Favola, and then Senator Obenchain.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Some of the stakeholder groups, medical groups in particular, have said that there was an agreement somehow reached with the General Assembly to keep the cap on the medical malpractice awards, if you will, for a period of 20 years, and we're not quite at that 20-year period, and then we were supposed to do an entire study to review it. I would like to know if that is correct information.
Madam Chair, I would answer my friend, the senator, by saying in 2011, the trial lawyers and the doctors and hospitals got together and they made this deal. And I think I was just here the first year, and so I wasn't too in tune with it. But they made this deal, and I guess then we incorporated into what has now become the legislation that is the cap under 801-581.15. But none of us were here, that I can tell, or part of that deal. And ultimately, we have to do what's right for our citizens. And ultimately, I think even if we look at that, I don't think they contemplated where we would be and what the dollar value would be at this time, that it was only incrementally increasing it by year by $50,000. So during all this time, it has only gone up since, actually, they started at 1999. It started at 1.5, and now it's at its highest point in 2030. It will only be 2.95 million. It's not a lot. And what would the dollar be worth in 2030? We must ask ourselves that question. And I think ultimately we probably need as Senator Marston has said, some kind of sliding scale or something, but we have to start somewhere. And children are our greatest natural resource and asset in Virginia.
In queue, we still have Senator Obenchain, Senator Serval, and then Senator Hashmi. Senator Obenchain.
Madam Chair, if I can just briefly beg the indulgence of those who heard this before, but the real problem here is, number one, it is these children, but the cap is a real problem. Not because of doctors, not because of hospitals, but with great respect due to insurance companies. And what they've done is the same thing that NFL teams that go for two every time they score a touchdown are doing, or college basketball teams that shoot more three-point shots. They're applying analytics to this. So we've got a $2.55 million cap. Why would any insurance company ever pay $2.55 million to a claimant, even if the malpractice is clear and they're $10 million in damages? They're never going to be hit with a judgment in excess of that amount. And as a consequence, the insurance companies never, almost never, even in the most extreme, clear cases, never try to resolve these cases up front, because the analytics show that they're money ahead by putting these families through this, and they're breaking the system. And I just submit that this is an incremental way to address it, and hopefully the insurance companies will shape up and will treat their insured's patients with the good faith that they are due.
Senator Serval.
My mic keeps turning off. Thank you, Madam Chair. So when this agreement was reached, I was a member of a different body, but I was here. But I wasn't part of the agreement. I didn't sign a contract. I didn't agree with it. And last I checked, the legislature decides what the law of the state is, not stakeholder groups. I wasn't happy about it when it happened. I'm still not happy about it. There's probably about 30 people left in between both chambers that were there when this deal got cut. You know, the voters have elected an entirely different group of people. We're the ones that decide what the law is. That's the first thing I'll say about the agreement. This policy of having an overall cap, there's only 2 states in America that have this, us and Nebraska. Most other states that have any kind of cap, they cap pain and suffering. They don't count economic damages. So when you have somebody who comes in and shows they're going to need $20 million of life care expenses, that's not capped. We're the only 2 states in America do that. We do. What that means is that the decision, with the policy effect, and I think what's before this committee is that when a doctor makes a mistake, when a doctor or hospital nurse, whatever it is, when they screw up by putting this cap in place, what it means is even if you ring the bell, even if the victim gets a $30 million judgment, only 2 point whatever million gets paid, who ends up picking up the tab? The taxpayers. What it means is that Medicaid ends up paying for the mistakes of these medical professionals. We don't socialize costs on taxpayers like that in this country for any other kind of liability that happens. If somebody makes a mistake, we don't push it to Medicaid. We push it on the person who made the mistake. That's what insurance is for. In our society, we have insurance to cover these losses so that the risk can be shared and paid in an equitable way by the people who make the mistakes. For some reason, we do it differently on this in this country. And what Senator Obenchain said is absolutely correct. What happens is these companies, they'll get like 5 cases, 10 cases. Insurance companies get 10 cases come in for the year. They say, okay, we got 10 cases. We'll take 10 cases to trial. They know their odds of winning are about 3 and 4. They know the max they're going to pay is $2 million, 2.5, whatever it is. So they figure out of the 10 cases, they're going to lose 3. They got to set aside $7.5 million. They put that in the stock market and bond market, play around, make some money, and then they let their lawyers run wild. And the people that suffer are the victims and taxpayers. And that's why this needs to change. This is a good first step towards fixing that. That's why the courts committee sent it out. And we need to stop the taxpayers funding this and have the people making the mistakes starting to help cover this cost for these people who are innocent victims who haven't done anything to end up with their lives ruined because somebody made these mistakes, which is what this will fix.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When we left the Senate Courts of Justice Committee when we heard this bill, it was my understanding that there was an agreement that we would be bringing the stakeholders together. What's the status of that?
Madam Chair, I'd answer one of my favorite senators, Senator Boysko, by saying this. I heard over the weekend a suggestion that a stakeholder group be put together that was made by, this was after the bill got out of Courts of Justice. I did not contact them until later. I've had some discussions with someone who I think is probably here, but I never agreed to anything like that. The proposal that was made, Madam Chair, members of the committee, was a stakeholder group that had basically everybody from their side. And one can assume, and I've been doing this for a while, and sometimes when those lopsided stakeholder groups get put together, the answer is cast before anybody ever meets. We had opportunities when I presented this bill in a catastrophic position before, where they promised they would work, and we didn't. We never have gotten anything done, but I think Artemis McRae's story demonstrates that there is another Artemis out there, and yet, unlike Artemis who passed, that family is going to be stuck. They're going to be taking care of their loved one, and are going to run out of money. I think we should also never forget, Madam Chair and Senator Boysko, that if you look at medical liability, the annual medical liability system in all of medicine accounts for only 2.4% of the total healthcare spending in that multi-billion-dollar industry. Only 2.4%. And I think Senator Servo brought up a very good point and adroitly stated, which was simply this. when you're on Medicaid and Medicare, where it's kind of like this full circle, it hurts the hospital system because if the funds have been depleted and they're on Medicaid, we're not paying the hospital that full amount for the services rendered, which causes them to raise rates. You know, when they say today, this will raise rates, well, with this cap in place, we have seen medical charges and rates rise. They have risen on their own without anything like this. What I would think, if we can find a way for patients and their parents to pay for their own care and not go on Medicaid, we might find some stabilization there. Thank you.
Any other member of the committee have a dissertation? I'd like to entertain a motion, please. You heard the motion and the second. Senator Locke, I see your light. Do you have another motion? Okay. There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 6, noes 9.
Ayes 6, noes 9. The bill does not report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Much appreciated your time. And I'll see you next year with this bill.
I'm sure you will, just like me with the casino bill.
Yes, ma'am.
Senator Rouse, you're up again. That's Senate Bill 300.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I'll try to keep my remarks short. SB 300 addresses how the Department of Elections handles any data that they use to clean up Virginia's voter registration list. It provides several safeguards to ensure that qualified Virginia voters aren't improperly removed from the voting rolls. It addresses what happened last year, in last year's era, where 3,300 Virginia voters who were unlawfully purged because they were flagged for being convicted of a new felony due to bad data. These voters were removed from the voter rolls and received no due process. And so SB 300 fixes this by requiring registrars to send out notices to any voter who has been flagged for a felony conviction before canceling their registrations. Individuals will have 14 days to respond as to whether they've been convicted of a new felony or have had their rights restored. This 14-day due process aligns with procedures already in place for other categories of voters who have been flagged as potentially ineligible, such as non-citizens. And that is the bill before you, Madam.
You've heard the bill presentation. Any questions of Senator Rouse by any member of the committee?
Move to report.
Second. There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported, and this is an electronic vote, so please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
Thank you, Senator Rouse. Senator Van Valkenburg. You have Senate Bill 44.
Yes, Madam Chair, and there is a substitute.
I'd like to have a motion on the substitute. There's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Aye. Substitute is agreed to. Senator Van Valkenburg. Senator McDougal.
Yes.
Wrong button. Madam Chairman, this is the substitute. I think we took this by for the day, one day this week for Senator Van Valkenburg and I to look at it. We went to House court staff, and there were 3 changes. I believe one was to add that the individual defendant had to be at least 18 years of age to make sure that you wouldn't have a minor babysitter, that 16-year-old or 15-year-old that could be found guilty. The one provision was to make it just possession of, because I had some questions about that. And then we cleaned up the language to make sure it was clear if the case was null pros or dismissed, that it would not apply, just the same similar language that we had included for if the the determination by the unit was founded not to be a threat.
Yep.
So I appreciate the senators working with us to try to address those matters.
Thank you, Senator McDougal.
And Madam
Senator
Chair,
Van Valkenburg.
and Madam Chair, I didn't know how much you wanted me to go into. I don't know if this was explained last time or if you, how much
It
you
was.
If you wanted me to do anything, but I'll just
We'd
say
rather not.
I thank the senator for working on it, and we're good.
Make a motion to report as amended.
There's a motion to report as amended, the substitute as amended. All in favor, please designate your preference electronically.
Thank you.
Ayes 14, noes 1.
Ayes 14, noes 1. The bill will be reported with the substitute. Senator Van
Thank you, Madam
Valkenburg.
Chair, member of this committee.
You're very welcome. We have one more bill in that. Senator Saline, I see you there.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I do have Senate Bill 339, and originally this started as a way to understand the blockchain technology and the impact of it. The bill got significantly reduced just to a study so that we would ask the SEC to convene a working group to study not only what it is and what the impacts are and how this would impact us in the future. This is a space that we do not regulate at the moment, nor do we have a say in it. We don't want to wait till it gets too late for us to get involved. I would prefer we do a working group study to see what policies we need to implement in the future.
Thank you, Senator Saline. Any questions of the senator on Senate Bill 339, and that's a digital asset?
So I'll move report.
That is correct.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor? I'd like to see your preference on the voting board. Yes or no?
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported. Senator
Thank you, Madam
Saline.
Chair.
You're very welcome. She asked for her to go by. Yes. I have Senate Bill 390, but the patron came forward early on in the meeting and asked that the bill go by for the day. So without objection, the bill will go by for the day. And now we're going to turn to our next block of bills, and that's going to be Health and Human Resources Subcommittee report. And so, Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the first bill is Senate Bill 543 by Senator Bagby. This deals with health insurance, the definition of emergency services to include behavioral health assessment and further examination and treatment is required, and adds crisis receiving centers to locations that would also be covered by health insurance. Subcommittee recommended to report the bill, 5 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 311 by Senator Boysko. This deals with adding a violence prevention services benefit to Medicaid. The subcommittee recommends adopting a substitute that will direct DMAS to basically look at other states and come
Motion
back.
for the substitute.
So moved. The substitute.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Aye.
And then they recommended reporting the bill, 5 yes, 0 no.
There's a motion to report and second that the bill be reported with the substitute. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
The next bill is Senate Bill 140 by Senator Carol Foy. This deals with the creation of a fetal and infant mortality review team. The subcommittee recommended to carry over the bill, 6 yes, 0 no.
You've heard the motion. And second that the bill be carried over. I need an electronic vote, please.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be carried over.
The next bill is Senate Bill 274 by Senator Deeds that deals with the creation of a prescription drug affordability board and drug cost affordability reviews. The subcommittee recommends to report the bill, 5 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported. All in favor? Please designate electronically.
Ayes 9, no 6.
Ayes 9, no 6. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 590, also by Senator Deeds. This deals with community services boards and setting out the core services in the code. Basically, it codifies the STEP Virginia services. The subcommittee recommends adopting a substitute and then reporting the bill 6 yes, 0 no.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye. The motion. It has been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the substitute. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
The next bill is Senate Bill 676 by Senator Eben. This deals with financial eligibility for the Medicaid developmental disability waivers and excluding Social Security disability income from the requirement to be eligible. The subcommittee recommended a substitute with the reenactment clause and directing DMAS to report on how many people would be affected and then reporting the bill 6 yes, 0 no.
So, second. Aye. Second.
Ayes 15, no 0.
The bill will be reported with the substitute.
The next bill is Senate Bill 39 by Senator Favola. This deals with directing the Department of Social Services to first consider placements with kinship foster care parents before placing them in foster care and establishing the parental child safety placement program to prevent unnecessary entry into foster care. The subcommittee recommended reporting the bill 5 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, please let your preference be known.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
The next bill is Senate Bill 40 by Senator Favola. This deals with directing the Department of Social Services to amend its regulations to actually apply for federal benefits for foster care kids and to take those federal benefits to set them aside in a trust or other type of protected account. The subcommittee actually recommends a substitute to develop a work group to look at the issue and then report the bill 5 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, say aye.
Move report.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute.
The next bill is Senate Bill 34 by Senator Locke. This deals with actually utilizing evaluators within a psychiatric emergency department as opposed to CSB evaluators as a pilot project for 2 years. The subcommittee recommends adopting an amendment to designate that this would be in Senatorial
Move the
District
amendment.
23.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that the amendment be agreed to. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Move the report.
It's been moved that the bill be reported with the amendment. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported with the amendment.
The next bill is Senate Bill 118, also by Senator Locke. This deals with health care coverage for doula care services. It directs the Health Insurance Reform Commission to consider coverage for doula care services in part of its review of the Essential Health Benefits Benchmark Plan. The subcommittee recommended to report the bill 5 yes, 0 no.
We had a substitute, didn't we, Mike?
Sorry.
Okay,
I'm
there's a
sorry.
motion
Just to
and a
report.
second that the bill be reported. All in favor, please let your preference be known electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported.
And then the last bill is Senate Bill 186 by Senator Subramanian. This deals with directing the Secretary of Health and Human Resources to look at a wholesale prescription drug importation program. The subcommittee recommends a substitute and then reporting the bill 5 yes, 0 no.
I move the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, say aye. Motion on the bill.
Move the report.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the substitute. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with the substitute. And now we're back to the member bills, but let me check one other thing before I move there. We did the resources earlier, so those are done. So now we are back to the members' bills, and we want to start with Senator Boysko. Looks like you up first.
Madam Chair, I'd move that we pass that bill by for the day.
At the request of the patron, the bill will be passed by for the day. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Senator Eben, you're next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I do that from here?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Senate Bill 364 has to do with protection of election officials. Under current law, it's a crime to hinder or prevent an officer of election at a location being used for voting from holding an election. But the law is silent about people who might threaten our presidential electors or election employees or election staff when they're not at the polling place, but involved in trying to silence them or intimidate them or threaten to kill or do bodily injury. So this bill would expand the protections that already exist, and I would move that we report it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Please let us know your preference electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill will be reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 381 has to do with unemployment insurance when the employer fails to respond. This bill was endorsed by the Commission on Unemployment Compensation, and Delegate Lee Ware and I received some input from the Chamber of Commerce, the VEC, and legislators. The bill seeks to set protections for claimants when their former employer is not responsive to the VEC for information about the case. It sets a penalty for the employer if they're not responsive, clarifies the fact-finding process for the VEC, and states that the VEC's decision needs to be in plain language. And with that, I would move the bill.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Please let your preference be known electronically.
Dave.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, noes 0, the bill will be reported. Thank you, Senator Eben. Now we move to Senator Marston, and that's Senate Bill 461.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 461 deals with the study of the ever-decreasing number of acres that we have in our forestry canopy here in the Commonwealth. We're losing thousands of acres, and we're not really sure why. There's a substitute. The substitute before you was agreed upon.
We had a committee
We had a
committee substitute, yes.
Okay, well, after we move the substitute, is all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And we'd
Thank
like
you.
to have staff attorney, or April is going to explain the committee substitute.
Madam Chair, the Senate Bill 461, the committee substitute, would turn this into a Section 1 bill that would be a study for a work group, and then it would come back with from such funds as appropriated for this purpose.
You've heard the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We need to assess the health of our forests and urban and suburban tree canopy. Despite being one of the strategies in our Chesapeake Bay Watershed Implementation Plan, our tree canopy is trending downward. We need this baseline understanding to identify why we've lost thousands of acres of trees and what are the land use changes that are driving this loss. This assessment will help us identify forest fragments and opportunities for reforestation, as well as identify challenges and recommend programs and funding opportunities to improve the health of Virginia's trees. Trees, whether in a forest or a city, one of our most cost-effective strategies the Commonwealth has to mitigate the impacts of climate change. They filter our drinking water, capture carbon. Urban trees cool our cities, reduce energy use, reduce both coastal and inland flooding, and reduce polluted stormwater runoff. This bill seeks to find out just what's going on so that we can reverse this trend.
There's a motion to move the committee substitute in a second. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
I move to report the bill. as
Second.
There's a motion to report the bill with the substitute. All in favor or not, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported with substitute. Now, Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have Senate Bill 243 dealing with PFAS, or forever chemicals, Madam Chair.
Do you have a substitute? You don't- No substitute. Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We just have the substitute that was adopted in Ag,
Correct.
which was a work product of working with stakeholders to collaborate, and we achieved that collaborative and resulting in a 15-0 vote from Ag. And Madam Chair, what it does is helps to prioritize the testing of PFAS in our finished drinking water, and also scales back for incoming sources into those systems. PFAS, as we know, are all over the Commonwealth. There's no part that is exempt. And it is one of the most important things is as we collect data, this is going to help us get eligible for federal money as this issue starts to grow. And it's my hope that the committee will report the bill and so move.
It's been moved.
And Madam Chair,
Senator Dees.
regretfully, I'll have a substitute motion. The patron put in a $50,000 a year budget amendment for this, and DEQ says it's going to take $706,000 a year. So I'm going to move to carry over the bill and look for a way to do this in the budget without the bill being passed.
Madam Chair.
Senator McPike.
Understanding that, and I understand the FIST doesn't reflect the substitute, which also trimmed down a couple things in that process to get the stakeholders, manufacturers, and all the collaboration needed. So
Okay,
perhaps take it by for the
take
day
it by
to get
for
some
the day.
updates from, because I know they're working on the updates from the administration. That'd be appreciated.
Okay.
Without objection, the bill will go by for the day, but I think I do need a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Senator Servo, you have 3 in a row. Let's see how quickly you can get it done.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You know, when I was in elementary school, I noticed that I was always at the back of the line because of my name, and it's still the case 50 years later. So Senate Bill 329, I believe there's a substitute. Is that right?
Can I get a motion on the substitute? Is there a
So moved.
substitute? Is it a substitute or an amendment?
Just an amendment striking a section of the bill, maybe?
Madam Chair.
April?
I believe when we previously spoke to the patron, he was going to do an amendment to remove the procurement preference.
Right.
Is that still the case?
I might have forgotten to tell Steven, so maybe
I think you might have. I don't have anything.
I can fix that on the floor if you
forgot
like.
something?
I've been pretty busy lately, like you.
I understand. Half the time been in my ear.
Yeah. At your service, Madam Chair. But I can fix this on the floor if you like. I just need to strike a section out of the bill.
You want to carry it over for that?
You just moved the amendment.
You want to move the amendment?
I'll move.
Yeah, I can move it in concept. I just need to
I'll
strike.
move the amendment to strike the procurement preference.
Yeah.
Second. That's the motion and the second. All in favor of that one, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Senator Servo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The remaining bill, all it does is it says when they rebuild a school, they have to build it so that the organic waste can be segregated from the regular waste, and then it gives localities the authority if they want to choose to require the separation of organic waste in the waste stream. It's a local option bill. That's all it does.
I think you understand that.
Move to report that.
Second. As amended.
You get the motion that the bill be reported with the amendment?
In concept.
You can hear me better if I turn the mic on? In concept, so I just want to say designate your preference electronically, please.
To be a substitute.
Be a substitute, yes.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill will be reported with the substitute. Senator Servo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 504 relates to the big expungement ceiling bill we passed in 2020. There was a bunch of cleanup work that needed to happen to it to make expungement and ceiling work the same way. And also there's a couple of Supreme Court cases that have come down in the last year that the bill reverses. The bill, however, I guess.
Do you have an amendment to this?
Madam Chair, I think we have a committee amendment.
Yeah,
And,
for a delay.
Katie, maybe, can explain it?
Senator Searle's aware, but there's an amendment for delayed enactment. This would go into
Okay,
effect
let's get it
January
passed.
1st,
There's a motion and a
2026.
second that the amendment be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now that we have the amendment passed, Senator Servo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was about to say that the state police raised some concerns about implementation. Staff proposed a delayed enactment, which is what that you just did. And with that, I think the bill's ready to go. I can explain the 12 things it does if anybody wants me to, but I don't think they do. But
I think we've heard it already. There's a motion that the bill be reported with the amendment. All in favor or not, please designate electronically your preference.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4. The bill will be reported with the amendment.
thank you, Madam Chair. I've got the last bill between us and dinner, Senate Bill 508. I have a substitute. I'd move the substitute.
There's a motion and a second to agree to the substitute. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Senator Servo,
What is the substitute?
what did the substitute say?
It basically streamlines the bill. Mr. Stevens and DLS looked at it and thought there was he thought we could do the same thing with a lot fewer words and a lot fewer complexity, but it basically just adds the geothermal energy to the RPS and tells the SCC
The problem
figure
is
out how to do it.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I don't think we've seen, our staff has seen the substitute. The thing.
Kinderman's seen it.
Madam Chair, the thing we have to do in this committee is figure out what the fiscal consequences of the bill. The policy's already been decided in the subject matter committee, and the bill, as our staff reviewed it, said the State's Corporation Commission does not need additional resources to do the bill.
Right.
Does
But
the
what
new
did the
language
substitute
change
do?
that?
No.
Could we hear from the staff attorney?
Yeah, it trims it down, yeah.
Madam Chair, I don't believe this changes the FIS at all. This just trims down the bill and cuts out some superfluous language.
Okay, I guess it's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically your preference.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill will be reported with a substitute. I have an announcement, very important announcement. Committee members are looking to schedule a meeting after session tomorrow. If there are no business to come before the committee, we are adjourned.
Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.